What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Dylan's Deep Dive. If you're building your Dynasty fantasy football team, you have come to the right place. So today we're going to be going through my top 20 Dynasty fantasy football wide receivers, the cornerstone pieces, and then the young up-and-coming guys who I think will eventually be those cornerstone pieces. If you're not familiar with Dynasty fantasy football, this is not redraft where you draft a new team every year. In Dynasty, you keep the same team every single year, and you draft rookies. So the younger guys have more value than the older guys who are going to be on their way out soon. I know there's going to be some rankings that you guys disagree with, so don't hold back on me. Leave those comments down below with what you disagree with, who you think should be on this list, or who you think shouldn't be on this list, and if I put anyone too high or too low. And lastly, if you are new here and you love fantasy football content, NFL, or just sports in general, make sure to leave a follow, hit that subscribe button. We're just getting started here, and we have plenty more videos to come. So hit that subscribe button and leave a comment down below. All right, but let's get into my top 20 Dynasty fantasy football wide receivers. All right, so starting off, we're going to go through this from top to bottom. So if you saw my last video, we kind of just went in the order that it gave us. In this video, we're going to go from 1 all the way down to 20. And so to start us off, at number 1 in my tier list, I have Jamar Chase. Here we go. All right, we got Jamar Chase at number 1. Again, so for Dynasty, quarterback is going to play a lot of this, and age is going to play into a lot, and just overall production. He's been one of those top guys since he's gotten into the league. He has a top 5 quarterback when healthy in the league, and he can perform. He's almost QB proof too. He had a great year last year with Joe Flacco at QB. Again, I believe he finished high. Okay, so here we have Jamar Chase from last year. He was the wide receiver number 4 with missing week 12 and with Joe Flacco at QB majority of the year, or towards the end of the year, but majority of the year missing Joe Burrow, and that's after having, these 3 games not being that great. Again, 36, 29, 25, 38, 21, like huge games, always has huge breakout potential. He's the number 1 guy. He's only, 26 years old. So, yeah, he's going to be the number 1 guy on my tier list. Kicking it at number 2, we have JSN. All right, now, so we see here JSN at only 24 years old was already the number 2 wide receiver in Dynasty, in fantasy football in general, not even just in Dynasty. So fantasy football, he's the number 2 wide receiver. First year with Sam Darnold, and only at 24 years old. He was just consistent through the entire year, only had 1 game under 14 points. So under 13 points. This was an offense that I think ranked dead last in pass attempts per game, and he was still number 2. There's only up from there, so it's only up for JSN. If they decide to start throwing the ball more, again, that's only more targets his way. So that's an offense that he's number 2 wide receiver. He's the number 1 wide receiver for them. He was the number 2 wide receiver in fantasy, and they were dead last in throws per game. So I mean, if that's the perfect wide receiver. So we're gonna have him at number 2 in our rankings. For me, these are the top 2 guys in Dynasty. 3 through 5, it's not a big drop off. I mean, those guys could be in the 1 and 2 as well. But these are my top 2 guys. 3 through 5 is kind of a slight tier below, but basically on the same level. All right, at number 3, we're gonna have Puka Nacua. All right, as we see here, Puka, number 1 wide receiver in fantasy last year, has Stafford at quarterback. The only reason I don't have him, again, he's only 25 as well. The only reason I don't have him at 1 and 2 is because Stafford is not going to be here for the long term. Stafford maybe has another year or 2 playing at the level he's playing at, and then Puka is going to have a new quarterback, potentially Ty Simpson, throwing him the ball. So obviously he's a great wide receiver. If he had a quarterback who was going to be there as for his whole career as well, then he'd be 1 or 2. But I don't want to put him 1 or 2 with him only having Stafford for another year or 2. So Puka is going to be our number 3 on this ranking. And then coming in at number 4, we're going to have Amon-Ra. Amon-Ra last year, number 3 wide receiver in fantasy football with Jared Goff and the Lions. This is a super high-powered offense, and we see his first year without Ben Johnson as coordinator, he doesn't lose a step. He still is the number 3 wide receiver in fantasy. The only reason people, were somewhat concerned about that offense is because they lose Ben Johnson, and it shows that losing Ben Johnson isn't going to change anything. He's still just as good. And so, again, with him, it's like he's so consistent. He's rarely ever injured. There's not a lot of concerns with him. I don't think he has the upside to be one of those top 2 guys, but he's just barely below them. All right, so like I said, Amon-Ra at number 4. And then to finish out this tier list, this 3 through 5, our number 5 guy is going to be CeeDee Lamb. So we see CeeDee Lamb last year, obviously number 22. He was out for, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games and still finished as the wide receiver. Basically 6 games because he didn't play here either. So he's out 6 games, a third of the season, and still finishes as the wide receiver number 22. CD, when he's healthy, extreme breakout potential. He's always going to be one of those top guys. He's only 27, which on everyone we've ranked so far, I mean, you'll see a theme as we're ranking. I think age plays a lot into this. He's one of those older guys in that top 5. He is the oldest guy in that top 5, but still, Dak is a very good quarterback. People sleep on Dak a lot. I think Dak is a very good quarterback. He's in an explosive offense that is always going to put up points. I have him at number 5. You guys might, say, why do you have him over Justin Jefferson? I'll get into that. But for me, I'm going to put CD at 5, which goes into our next guy, number 6. Here is where we have Justin Jefferson. All right, so we see, again, kind of similar thing with Justin Jefferson. Finishes number 21, but he misses some time as well. Not as nearly as much as CD. He had a super down year. Obviously, the quarterback play wasn't there. He didn't even have J.J. McCarthy for most of the year, so he's playing with Max Brosmer, a bunch of other guys who should not be on the field. But when he is healthy, he's obviously one of the best young wide receivers in the league. He's also 27, same class as CD. But why I have him below those guys is that quarterback play. That's a big question. Hopefully, I think he's going to bounce back with Kyler. I think Kyler is going to be a much better quarterback for him. But it is still a question. There's not a secure quarterback there. And we kind of saw what happened when he didn't have that secure quarterback. He's not exactly quarterback proof. I mean, he had some very down games where, and finishing as the wide receiver number 21 with only really missing a game is not great. So there are some concerns there. But I still, when he is healthy, when he has a solid quarterback throwing him the ball, he's arguably the best wide receiver in football. So I can't put him any lower than 6, even with those QB concerns. So that's the lowest I can throw him. Right outside that top 5. Him and CD are kind of interchangeable. I think Justin Jefferson would be in that 4 spot if he had, secure quarterback play. But unfortunately for him, that's not exactly a thing. All right, so next up at number 7 here, I am going to go Drake London. We see Drake London finishes number 19 after missing 6.5 games last year. So, again, over a third of his season, and he still finishes 19 with just monster performances. You see a 38 here. You see a 31 here. Like, he has that breakout potential as well. And he's 24 doing this he is truly QB-proof. He's doing this with Kirk Cousins, with Michael Penix, with inconsistent quarterback play. He was doing this with Desmond Ridder, and now he gets Tua, which obviously is not a huge upgrade, but I'm not worried about that. Like, I'm not worried about his QB situation like I am with others who have shown, they do decline when they have a bad quarterback situation. He doesn't show that, and he's only 24 years old. That's why I have him this high. Honestly, I'm really high on Drake London. I would even potentially put him higher than that, but I can't put him above, some of those other guys like Justin Jefferson and CD. But again, really high on Drake London. I think he's going to have a monster year next year. I think Tua is a slight upgrade from Penix, even if it's not huge. But yeah, Drake London at 7. At number 8, and I'm kind of skeptical to do this. I'm not super confident in this, but we're going to go Malik Neighbors. All right, Malik Neighbors, obviously last year tears his ACL and meniscus, was really good his rookie year, as we can see, just super solid, was, playing good, tears his ACL meniscus. However, the reason that I have him here, and I'm kind of concerned, obviously 22, Jackson Dart, is looking to be a solid quarterback, so we're not really worried about quarterback inconsistencies. We're not worried about age. I am worried about the health. His knee recovery hasn't been good. I recently tore my ACL as well, and my recovery has been faster than him, and he has way more resources to use than me. But so a little concerned about the knee. However, when he's on the field, he's great. If he bounces back from the ACL and is the same player he was before, he could jump even higher on this list. The only reason he is where he is, and potentially even lower, is because of the health and the concerns with that. But yeah, I'll leave him at 8 for now. I think that's a good spot for him. He's obviously a dog, and he's 22 when he's healthy. So I think that's kind of where I want him to be at right now. And then next up here at number 9, this is where it kind of gets into like a position of, okay, there could be a big difference, a big group of guys in this position, but I am going to throw Nico Collins right here. All right, so Nico Collins, 27, same age as Justin Jefferson and CD. He was the number 8 wide receiver in fantasy last year, with missing a game, 2 games it looks like. So again, just super consistent guy. He was coming off injury this year too, so like he had some games where his snap percentage is pretty low, 51, 57. Like he's going to come back after now having a full year of recovery, full year to be healthy. Hopefully CJ Stroud comes back to that rookie year CJ Stroud, because Nico Collins will be great then. He's still young. He's still super consistent. He's still a really good wide receiver. I think he's one of the safest picks right now. He's always going to be a top 10 wide receiver for you, and that's why I have him at this 9 position. He's still like fairly young. I mean, you would think he's older than CD and Jefferson, but he's the same age as them, so I don't want to put him any lower than 9. And then number 10 here, this is again kind of where it gets into that tricky categories of wide receivers, but I'm gonna go George Pickens right here. All right, so we go George Pickens at number 10. Last year has his breakout year where he's number 5 wide receiver in fantasy football. Has a great year, stays healthy basically the entire year, and just with Dak was great. CD went down, so he was the number 1 for a while. But even when CD came back, it wasn't like his production dipped significantly. We'll see if he stays with the Cowboys. But I think either way, even if he doesn't, like he's going to go and be the wide receiver 1 somewhere else. So if anything, it's upside if he goes somewhere else. But yeah, again, CD, very good. The Cowboys have 2, in my opinion, top 7, top 8 wide receivers in the NFL. It's going to be a very explosive offense. They're going to pass the ball a lot like they already have shown to do. He's going to get a lot of targets. He's still going to be really good next year after that breakout year. So I have him right there rounding out this 5 through 10 at the number 10 spot, halfway through my rankings. And then number 11 here, this is kind of where it comes between 2 guys for me, and that's Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave. I'm going to go Garrett Wilson here. All right, so I'm taking Garrett Wilson at number 11 over Chris Olave, which might be a little controversial just because of Garrett Wilson's quarterback situation. But look at this. This is with Justin Fields before Garrett Wilson gets hurt for the entire season. And he's 22, 24, 20, 19, and has 2, lesser games. But that's still with Justin Fields at quarterback. And now, obviously, he doesn't get a huge upgrade with Geno Smith, but they will be throwing the ball more. And I think once the Jets, they're going to draft a quarterback eventually. He's still only 25. Garrett Wilson is a very good wide receiver. He's been fine with bad quarterback play. If the chance that he gets good quarterback play, Garrett Wilson's going to be a league winner. He's going to be someone that on your dynasty team that sets you up for the future. I would be looking to get him. His value is probably not crazy high right now because he has Geno Smith at quarterback, but it's only going to go up, and he's still, now he comes back and hopefully can play a healthy season. He's going to be good. I have him at number 11, and then right after that, we have Chris Olave at number 12. Okay, so like I said, we have Chris Olave at number 12. Had a great year last year, was the number 6 wide receiver in fantasy. Stayed healthy the entire year for, I believe, to be his first time after he's taken a lot of injuries. That's honestly the only reason I have him below Garrett Wilson is the injury concerns. He's been hurt a lot. If he gets another concussion, it might be over for him. He's had a lot in his career. But again, super consistent. Rarely, one game under 10 points, has big games, 36, 26, 28, games like that. Has Tyler Shuck at quarterback, who, when Tyler Shuck came in, he's really playing good ball, and I think Tyler Shuck's going to be good for them. And I think the Saints offense is just going to be better in general anyways. I think Olave is good. Honestly, if you wanted to put Olave higher, maybe over Garrett Wilson, maybe over Nico Collins, I wouldn't disagree with that at all. This is just where I have him at number 12 here. But again, I think, he could slide up into, right here, maybe even over George Pickens. But we'll throw him at number 12 for now. But yeah, again, very good wide receiver. I think he's going to be good with Shuck. He just needs to stay healthy, which he did last year. All right, next up, now we're at number 13. This is where I'm going to go Tet McMillan. So Tet McMillan at number 13. In his rookie season, he's only 23 years old. In his rookie season, he's the wide receiver number 16. Stays healthy the whole year. Bryce Young kind of takes a step, which is good for him as well. I have enough confidence in Bryce Young to put Tet at 13, if that makes sense. Again, yeah, he's the wide receiver 16 in his rookie year. He's only going to get better. That offense is only going to get better. It's a super young team. He has that explosive upside where he gets 12 targets a game. He's getting high targets every game as a rookie. His first 4 games, 9, 10, 8, 8, fifth game, 8, like that. He's going to get his targets. He's going to be good. He's going to, score his touchdowns as well. Multiple, multi-touchdown games. And he's 23 going into his second year. So it's like that's where, this age factor really comes into play of him being the 13th guy. Even though these guys may have better seasons than him next year. In a redraft, you might take them. But in Dynasty, he's this high because he's only 23 years old going into his sophomore season. Okay, and then at number 14 here, I am going to go with Devontae Smith. Okay, so I'm pretty high on Devontae Smith. He was the wide receiver 20 last year, but now he jumps up into the wide receiver 1 for Philly with A.J. Brown leaving. A lot of people are saying, he could have been the wide receiver 1 already. He's only 27 years old. He's going to be good. He has this high potential when he's getting high targets, and now with the main target share leaving the building, he's going to get the ball a lot more. I expect to see big things from him. This isn't really too much of a crazy controversial pick for me. I think this just makes sense with A.J. Brown leaving the building for him to jump up into this 15 to 13 range of dynasty wide receivers. Okay, and then to round out this 11 through 15 tier, we are going to have Carnell Tate. Okay, so Carnell Tate, this might be a little controversial as well for me having him this high, but I've heard very good things. Right here, latest news, he looks polished and is standing out. Obviously, he's a rookie, but, I'm not a Cam Ward hater. I'm not a Cam Ward lover. I'm still kind of indifferent on that. I have to see more from him, but he has what they hope to be a franchise quarterback. If Cam Ward is a franchise quarterback and he keeps Carnell Tate with him the whole time, he's going to have a stable quarterback situation. This is kind of a risk, me putting him at 15, because obviously he hasn't played yet. He could be a bust and drop down out of the top 50, but he could also drop way high. He could jump way higher than where I have him at 15, and I think he will. He's 21 years old, which is big for Dynasty, and I think he's gonna be good. He was the number 4 overall pick, I believe. They're not going to take him there for no reason. I think Carnell Tate's going to be good. Ohio State continues to show, why they are the wide receiver factory of college into the NFL. I think he'll be good. I have him at 15, which, for you guys might be a little high, but for me, I think that's a good spot to have him. And then here at number 16, I have Ladd McConkey. So like I said, at 16, we have Ladd. He was the wide receiver 30 in fantasy last year. Missed, 1 game, which is nothing crazy. He wasn't great last year, but he's hoping to have a bounce-back season this year. He's only 24, and he has a very consistent quarterback in Justin Herbert, who's always, a top 7, top 10 quarterback in the NFL. He started bouncing back towards the end of last season. I'm hoping he can do that again. This is kind of one of those riskier picks where I think Ladd is going to be good, and he's young, but if he stays kind of in this where he's consistently dropping under 10 points, he's going to fall off this top 20 list. But I have confidence in Ladd. I think, he's going to be good. I think he'll bounce back from, that sophomore slump into going into his third year. But yeah, so I have Ladd at my 16 spot, which again might be a little high for you guys, but that's where I'm going to have him. And then at 17 here, this is where I have Luther Burden. All right, so we have Luther Burden at number 17. Obviously, last year we didn't get to see a ton from him in the beginning, but as he, goes on throughout the season, we see him to start get even just a little bit more snap percentage. His numbers go up right away. He has good playoffs, and obviously this is the big thing. 22 years old and Caleb Williams at quarterback, who's also very young. They're going to be with each other for a while. Luther Burden, a lot of people are hoping that he's going to jump into the wide receiver 1 role with DJ Moore out, and people think he's going to jump over Rome Odunze. So I think he's going to have that breakout year. He's been on top of everyone's boards for, breakout year. I think he's going to be good. Obviously has a franchise quarterback who is young with him. He has no worries about, quarterback change. This is going to be a good offense under Ben Johnson. It's going to be explosive again, like they were last year. I think Luther Burden is a very safe pick at 22 years old in a great scheme, great offense, good quarterback. It would be almost more surprising if he didn't break out than if he did break out. So that's why I have him there at 17. And then at number 18 here, I'm going to have A.J. Brown. All right, so we have A.J. Brown at 18, number 11 wide receiver in fantasy last year, which I think he definitely gets a quarterback upgrade going from Jalen Hurts to now Drake May, which is only going to be good for his production. The only reason he's not higher on this list is he's 29 years old going into age 30, so he's kind of getting up there in age. But if this was a redraft, I'd have him in my top 15 for sure. I think he's going to have a great year with the Patriots and Drake May. He gets, an upgrade at quarterback and out of a situation that he wasn't particularly happy in. But, very good production consistently. He's only, I think, going to go up this year. The only reason he's not higher again is that age. So I think, trade value, he's looking at around a mid to early first-round pick. But I have him at number 18 right there. And then second to last right here, my top 20 at number 19, I'm going to have Emeka Egbuka. All right, so Emeka Egbuka at number 19 for me at age 23, so he's going into his sophomore season with Baker Mayfield, the quarterback. Not the best quarterback situation, but definitely not the worst. Had a great start to his rookie campaign. Look at this, 23, 12, 14, 20, 31, and then had a big fall off there, but I think the Bucks just had a big fall off there. That wasn't just an Egbuka thing. Mike Evans is now out. He's out of Tampa Bay, which is going to free up a lot of the targets for Egbuka. Obviously, Godwin will be healthy and back this year, but I think Egbuka is going to slip into that, alpha number 1 wide receiver role. If he comes back to what he was doing earlier in the season, in his rookie season, he's going to jump a lot higher than 19. So I think 19 for him is honestly a safe bet. He could easily jump into this 11 to 15 tier over Carnell Tate, Devontae Smith, and around this tier, and I wouldn't be surprised at all. And then to round out my tier list at number 20, also could be surprising, but I think it's going to jump a lot. I have Jalen Waddle. All right, so we see last year Jalen Waddle, number 24 wide receiver with, a lot of different quarterbacks, very inconsistent QB play, and he's number 24. Now he's going into one of the youngest up-and-coming offenses in the NFL with Bo Nix at quarterback. Yes, they still have Courtland Sutton. I think if anything, that's going to open him up more. I think Waddle's very good. I think he's going to go and be the number 1 wide receiver for Denver. Missed a few games, was still wide receiver number 24. I think he's going to be good. I'm really high on him this year, honestly. If you have him in Dynasty, I definitely would hold him. I think his value is only going to go up now joining Bo Nix in Denver. But anyway, guys, that's going to round out my top 20 for Dynasty Fantasy Football wide receivers. If you disagree, please leave that in the comments. If you think I put anyone too high, and if you think I put anyone too low, if you think I left some people off the list, please let me know and share your thoughts on that. And then also, guys, if you enjoyed today's video, please leave a like and subscribe. It helps a lot, helps the channel grow, and I want to continue to post these videos and just be interactive with you guys. It's a lot of fun for me as well. So again, if you like the video, please leave a like and subscribe, and leave a comment with what your thoughts were. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.